Welcome to Many Faces, Many Places. I have joining me today my dear friend Eden from Israel. Thanks so much for being here with me, Eden, and a good big Happy New Year to everyone listening. We're in 2022 now, and we're excited to see what the year brings. So, Eden, tell me how life has been since we last talked.
Wow, so much changed. Wow. Perfect question. I think it's going to reveal in the next few episodes or hours. Let's see how it goes.
We could definitely talk for that long. I'm pretty sure we can if we have unlimited time. Just the time I spent with you when we were volunteering in Costa Rica, I felt like you were someone that I could just literally talk to for a day or two.
Same. Wow, I had so much fun.
Yeah, I'm really so glad I met you there. You were such like a positive, vibrant energy. And you were just always happy to help. I could really tell you were just very thankful to be there and just excited about anything. At first, I was like, okay, this girl's too much. At first, I was like, okay, who's always this happy and always this cheery? But then I got used to it. That's just the standard for you.
That's hilarious. So many people tell it about me. Yeah.
Okay.
You're not the first one. That's okay. But it's actually a really good time to say also thank you for having me. And I think I also want to just tell it to the listeners that also, as you as the maker of this podcast, I think it's amazing to me to know that there's someone that just wants to listen to other people's voices and stories without being judgmental. I think it tells a lot about you, and it tells that you're a wonderful person for giving me this stage to talk. That's amazing.
Aww, that's
so thank you so much for that.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, you're the best. I wish there were more people like you on the world, more people that wants to listen to others. I think it's super important nowadays.
Oh, thank you so much. Well, yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do, is just kind of give everyone an even play field and a platform and a stage to verbalize their thoughts and experiences and relate to other people that maybe wouldn't have heard this perspective if it wasn't for listening to the podcast. So I really appreciate for those kind words that you said. Yeah, it was like destiny that we found each other, I think.
Yeah, true. Absolutely.
Okay, so tell us about your early life. What makes you Eden?
Whoa, what does that mean?
You tell us.
Whoa. Actually, I could say I can tell about the Eden that before this trip and the Eden that came afterwards, which is going to be way more clear as I'm telling the story. I think when I wanted to go out to the trip, it was not supposed to be a solo trip. It was supposed to be just a trip in Central America, discovering new places, seeing new cultures. And I'm not was the one that invented this idea to like run away to the second side of the earth to see new things. Actually, in Israel, it's pretty common. I don't know if you ever heard about that, but because of the fact that in Israel, everyone has to do the military service. So you actually kind of like everyone does the same route, since they're being child, like go to kindergarten and then go to elementary school, middle school, high school, and then you have to go to the army. And then you're at the first time for your own when you're like around 22, which is pretty late. And then all you want to do is just to run away, to see new places, to discover yourself, to put yourself in like situations that you don't know how we're going to react, to get out of your comfort zone. That was, at least I know so many friends of mine that does it and felt this way. And I just want to do it too. So I had 2 months of work, actually. And I decided that I really want to go, but don't know how and when. I knew when, but I didn't know with who should I do that, because I was so afraid of going to a different new country that I don't know anything about, and actually try to be there on my own, even though I really like to do things on my own. For example, I can go to a theater in Israel on my own, but in a different country that I don't know. I think it's a totally different story. So I did wanted to get a partner. So a friend of a friend wanted also to fly at the same days, which was great. And she also had 2 months, which was also great. And then her name was Hadar. So Hadar and I met twice. We talked about our goals. When do we go to bed? When do we wake up in the morning? What kind of activities do you want to do? And it sounds like we're going to be good partners. She's a really nice girl. She actually lives pretty close to me, like 50 minutes of driving. That's super close. And we decided that we should fly together. And yeah, I think it's important to have someone who's going to be on your side in case you need anything goes wrong, you don't feel good, you're afraid, you're confused, you have someone that knows that you're not going to be alone. So I thought that was a good idea. And then we flew, and actually it was not the way I expected. Yeah, just as we started, we noticed that we're not actually having the same vibes, like the things that we couldn't know in advance. Like as we did, for example, we woke up in the morning, we slept in hostels, and we didn't actually have a plan, right? We flew right to Guatemala. That was our first destination, and had no clue what we're supposed to do in Guatemala. So straight we went to a place called Bet Chabad. Have you ever heard of that?
No. Say it again.
It's called the House of Chabad, which is Chabad is a kind of like there are so many types of Judaism, and Chabad is one of them. And their whole point actually is to get the heart close, like of all the Jews around the world. And they're having kind of guest house in many different places around the world. I think in every country, almost every country on earth, they have at least one, which is amazing.
That is. Yeah. I remember the other gentleman we met, Raz. You remember him? He was a good time. He was the one that told us this idea. What is it called?
The house Chabad.
Chabad.
House of Chabad.
House of Chabad. Okay. And he told us it's like a Israeli hostel, basically, that is in every single country of the world, and pretty much every city, wherever you travel, you can find an Israeli hostel. And you go there to meet people from Israel, and you make friends really easily that way, and you're always welcome. And it might be sometimes a little more expensive, right? Because they're nicer than a traditional hostel. But yeah, that's what he told us. He would be like, okay, I'm going to the Israeli hostel. See you later. And we were all like, that's so cool. Yeah, so I guess that's really a cool thing. Do you know where that came from? Like, why did, I guess, the culture decide that?
Yeah, I think it's because like their main goal is to spread Judaism and to make you a bit closer to God in that way. So, for example, in Judaism, every Friday night you have the Shabbat dinner that you do. And they're doing like, especially when you're traveling alone, you don't really do a Shabbat dinner on your own. Like when you're back home, you're doing it with your friends and family. You never miss it. It's something that's super important and you have to be there. And if you miss it one time, then your whole family is going to discuss about it for the next 2 months.
Scandal.
You have to do that. Even though when you want to, when all the friends want to hang out later, everyone does it after the dinners.
Okay, got it.
So when you travel, especially for long travelers, it's really good that you have a place that you can do a Shabbat dinner with. So every night, all of the Chabad houses doing a big Shabbat dinner each Friday night, which is really good.
That's good. It gives you that sense of community no matter what corner of the world you're in.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the idea. So on the first day, as we got to Guatemala, we just went straight there. And then we met other 3 people, which we made kind of a group together. And we started to travel around. And then we saw that Hadar and I, my partner, are not getting along. So we're like, she's amazing. She's really nice. But you know, this kind of person that is going to be really good for your friendship if you're going to meet in a coffee and just do things together rather than just living together, because those are 2 different things,
right?
In my opinion, at least.
Yeah,
So
that's
we
the
didn't
case
get
for dating someone and being someone's friend. You never know what's going to
yeah.
happen until you become roommates.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, we just kept meeting new people all the time. But that first week, let's say, of Minhada was not so good because it was a bit, it wasn't that smooth as we expected it to be. So after 1 week, 1.5 week, we decided that we should split up. And then I continued traveling. Yeah, it was in really good manner. And we're still friends. I love her. I love her. And then I just started traveling with one of my friends that I met in Bet Chabad on the first day. So we continued to travel all Guatemala together. And Guatemala as a country, I think it's super interesting and fascinating even because the Mayan culture is so inspiring to see all of the women dressing in the same kind of uniforms, Mayan uniforms, and seeing like the whole so native and maybe even authentic villages, I can call it, in markets, and to see how they're living sometimes without electricity or where the children doesn't have any education for many, unfortunately, in many different places. That was so mind-blowing, but in the same time through all of that it is really it's really touristic, like not as touristic as Costa Rica, but still it was really really easy for us to find new partners, to meet people again and again in different places, because like in the really long travel you meet people again and again all the time.
Yeah, I
It's super
experienced
strange.
that. It was just like everyone was in South America, and it's like, oh, you're here now at this beach. Oh, you're here now at this city. Okay, good to see you again. Yeah, that was something I learned
Yeah.
too on this trip. So, what were some, I guess, crazy or memorable things that happened to you when you were in Guatemala or even
Wow.
Nicaragua?
In Nicaragua, wow, we'll get to Nicaragua later because I think if we can to like define my experience of like it's
Each
my
country.
yeah, fifth country and it's only my experience. Yeah, Guatemala was just 100% of having fun, was amazing, and then in Nicaragua the struggles started to pop up for so many reasons, and then in Costa Rica I had this kind of transformation.
I want to tell you about Packlicious, who specialize in dog collars, harnesses, and toys that are durable yet fashionable. My favorite thing about them is that each purchase provides 2 meals of food for animals at the Humane Society. Over 230,000 meals have been donated so far. Their website was super easy to use when I was shopping for my own pups, Tiki and Rue. Head over to packlicious.com and use the code TikiRue, which is spelled TIKIRUE, at checkout to get 20% off new gear for your pup or a gift card for another dog lover.
So Guatemala was amazing, and talking to people in Guatemala was so inspiring because not many people knew English. But when I did meet someone that's like a local that knew English, I was holding him so tight and talked for hours. So, for example, we were in a city called San Pedro. And then we wanted to go from San Pedro, which is next to Lake Atitlan, a beautiful lake. We had to go for 8 hours to another city called Nankin to see a beautiful valley that's called, what was his name? Wait a minute. I had to prepare it in advance.
Eden brought her notes. She is taking this very seriously.
Yeah.
So good. Yeah, don't worry. I took notes in my calendar too of every city I went to because they had like all these different names that I was not going to remember. And certain landmarks I went to, I would save them in my Google Maps so I could remember the name. I do the same thing.
Yeah, so that's a milk champagne. Woohoo! Yeah. So we went from San Pedro to the city called Lanquin. Like it's not a city; it's kind of a village that was next to a park called Semoc Champagne, which was a beautiful valley with so many waterfalls, like in the shape of stairs. So imagine you have like a pool with so many rocks, and then there was like another wall of rocks, and then another waterfall, and it just goes like that. This was so long, amazingly beautiful place. And as we went there, we discovered that like we came out at around 8 a.m. from San Pedro. And then we arrived to Lankin at around 4 p.m., even 5. And we were supposed, like, the driver itself didn't know English. He knew only Spanish. And then we discussed with his manager, and she said he's going to take us straight to our hostel. And what actually happened is, like, when we went to Lankin, he dropped us at some place and said that someone else is going to pick us up. And we had no clue. Who is that? Why is that? We were only Idan and I, the guy that we were traveling together out the country. And then someone else came to pick us up. And then he has like kind of a truck. Like, it was a truck that can handle with difficult places to drive, difficult terrains. Yeah, to drive around above rocks and really narrow places. And then we just went up and started to drive into the woods in the darkness. It was so spooky. And we had no clue, and we had no cellular connection at all. We had no clue where are we heading to, how long is it going to take, because he also didn't speak English. And it was 45 terrifying minutes, really, as we got to the place, which apparently was our hostel in the middle of the nature reserve of Semoc Champey. And it has no internet, no cellular connection, no electricity. Apparently, the electricity works there only in the hostel, not around the neighborhood or the nature reserve itself. It works around 6:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. So only 4 hours per day. And then there were only one person who knew English there. So all of our stay, which was 3 days long, we were talking so much about the opportunities of the people that live there, how they're gonna deal without electricity, like the differences between the cultures. Do they have school at all? And they said that, we have school. It's really close. And I was like, where's that? And the man was like, it's 3.5 hours walking in that way. And I was in shock. And he said, everyone does that. Everyone goes this 3.5 hours walk every day until 6th grade. And later it already costs, I think, $50 per child to go to school. And the price goes higher as long as time goes. And they don't complete more than 6th grade at all.
But man, taking a 3.5 hour walk to school and back each day, and probably sometimes in certain weather conditions too. It rains a lot over there.
Yeah.
Compared to the kids here that are just doing online school, and they still complain. They still miss school even though it's online.
Yeah, absolutely. You know how it goes. It's amazing because it's not even a paved road. It's like going between mountains and valleys. Like, it would take me 6 hours for sure. I've seen the way.
It's like an intense hike.
Yeah, absolutely. And they have no proper shoes for that, right? Nothing. And it's in the middle of a rainforest.
Oh my goodness.
Amazing.
That's amazing. Did you try that trek?
No. Absolutely not. Wow.
Pretend to be a Guatemalan schoolgirl for a day and do this treacherous hike with little food and improper shoes.
Yeah, no.
So you learned these things from talking to the locals that live there?
Yeah, so many. But sometimes it was a bit scary. There were moments, for example, I traveled in Guatemala for 2.5 weeks. And later, like as a trip go, I thought what's going to be my next destination. And my partner, Adam, wanted to go to Mexico. He went to visit my friends, and I was like, that was the first week. Second, when I was aware that I'm going to travel all by my own, which wasn't planned. Because I'm a person that has, how can I call it? I'm really afraid of many different things. Yep, I'm really afraid of anything that pops up in my way. So it was a bit shock because I wasn't prepared for that. And for that moment, I also thought for my parents, because my parents also thought that I'm going to travel with someone, and they were also super scared and terrified by the thought that I'm going to travel on my own. But as time went, I realized that I don't really have any other choice but doing that, and I have to think and to embrace it. That I'm going to probably getting over my fears and just going to do it and try to be as careful as I can. But it is what it is. As I traveled in Guatemala and saw all of the villages and the people, and I got so excited from all of that, and I wanted more this kind of authentic feeling. When I first came to Guatemala, I thought I'm going to visit Guatemala and Costa Rica, and like this is it for 2.5 months, because I really want to go to a country and to see it all, to see all of the untouristic places, to like getting it really deep into each country and to understand the culture and the people, and not only just to like remark on this stage.
Same. I'm the same way. I preferred that as well, to stay long enough to where I feel like I have a large amount of time to do what I feel like and not have to stick to an itinerary of like, okay, we're only here for 2 days. So what are the places you want to go to? And we're going to have to cut some off the list because we're not going to have time. Like, that's not how I like to travel either. If I had all the time and I can really sit down and get to know people and have genuine conversations, I really agree with you on that too.
Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. So because I love this authentic atmosphere, everyone told me that there's so many Israelis who travel in Central America, so cheap, and everyone don't really save so much money. Like, people have to work. I worked before I flew, but you have to save a lot of money, but you really want to have really long travel. So you need to go to like the most cheap places, Central, South America, Asia, for example, are like the hardest destinations for Israelis in my group of age.
Yeah. I had met so many people from Israel. I had no idea. My friend Sian and I, we were both surprised that we would be meeting people from all over the world in general, but also so many people from Israel. So now we feel like, and a lot of you guys have like invited us to go visit and everything in Tel Aviv. And we're just super excited that, oh my gosh, we have friends in Israel now. We have international friends. There were so many of you guys, and there were people coming into the volunteer center too, like day in and day out. There would be like, oh, there's another guy from Israel. Oh, there's another girl from Israel. And I guess you guys were all in the same age, and I didn't know that you guys had to serve mandatory military time. It makes sense that once you guys are out of it, then that's when you guys are all like the same age, like around 22, like you said, or depending if you choose to serve a little longer. And then that's when you guys can either go to college or start working, right?
Yeah.
So how long did you have to serve? And you told me it's called the Israel Defense Forces, IDF. Right. So that's like the what the military is called over there. And how long did you have to serve, or did you choose to stay longer? And what was your experience?
I served for 2 years. And
I was like, whoa, you got out early.
Yeah. Nope. Yeah, 2 years and 8 months, which was one of my greatest experiences I've ever had. Thankful for this time. Yeah, it was amazing. Amazingly amazing.
Not many people can say that, but I think I heard from one of my other roommates in Costa Rica too, that she also really enjoyed her time in the military. It's not what we would think. Here, it's like if you get drafted, oh my gosh, it's like the worst thing that can happen, unless you're like actually wanting to join the military on your own will. But in your country, it sounds like people really actually enjoy the experience, and it's something that makes you a more wholesome, well-rounded person, and you actually meet a lot of people. And when you meet other people, even strangers, you think there's times where you realize, oh, I know you because of so and so and so from the military, and I met this person, and you're their cousin, and you're their friend. I think Yael and Yovel, the two girls, they were the ones that told me that after you had left the sanctuary, we talked with them a little more, and that's when I got a little more understanding of this mandatory military time that you guys had to serve. And they both stayed even a few years longer, and they became higher ranking. And Raz too, I think he was higher ranking, and I was just like, man, I can't imagine you being assertive in the military. He's like, oh, I was quiet, but I was tough, but I was quiet. And I'm like, I can't imagine you yelling at your soldiers.
Yeah, when you stay around group of age, you don't really have to yell or shout at anyone in many cases. Like they're all your friends. Imagining like it's like kind of a village of so many, it's like sometimes can be an atmosphere of a college, when there are so many different people, but you're all around the same group of age. So you're all talking about your girlfriends and boyfriends and doing the same things every day, living together in the same buildings, in the same rooms together. It cannot go wrong.
So it's kind of like a college dorm or like a fraternity, sorority kind of feel.
Yeah, actually, when I got to hostels, it made me so happy to sleep with other people again in the same room, to meet other people, to discuss. I love this kind of conversations of when it gets really late, right before you go to sleep on the bed. I just love it.
Oh, yes. Late night conversations.
Yeah, my favorites.
Yes, I like them too. Okay, so that's good that you enjoyed your time in the military and it wasn't anything like scary or a bad experience. It sounds like most of you really enjoyed the time and learned a lot and built relationships and discovered some talents through it. Yeah. Anything else that you want to clarify or share about that experience? Or are you happy you're out of it? Or
I think everyone has like ups and downs, because it cannot be easy actually. Like everyone are your friends, but in the same time you have a commander and you have things that you have to do, and not all of them are easy. And sometimes you get so many nights without sleep because you know that you're doing something important and just giving back to your country. And sometimes it can be really hard. Sometimes you don't really coming home so often. I came home for, let's say, 6 days out of a month for almost 2 years, the first 2 years of my service. And there were really so many low moments, but as you going through moments like this, you grow from that. And I think it really makes me maybe a better person for sure. Yeah, we can discuss it on a whole different episode. I think it's so much complicated than that, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a
the bottom line,
it can be a very broad topic. But thanks for giving us a little sneak peek of it and kind of a summary of just to help people that are listening around the world have some type of understanding of what it's like to be a young teenager that has to join the Israel Defense Forces.
Yeah, you're on it.
Yeah, but it sounds like you guys got a lot out of it and you guys really enjoyed the experience. So now, are you going to college, or I know you're working?
Yep, I'm currently working and I might go to college next year. I'm not sure yet. Yeah, let's see how it goes.
Okay, and you're working in Tel Aviv?
Yep, I'm a data analyst at a data software company. Yep.
Cool. Will you be able to keep working and go to school at the same time next year, or you're just going to head right into school, you think?
I hope I can have a student position there. I really hope.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. For ways to support the podcast, please tap on the bio link in my Instagram page at MFMP Pod. Consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/MFMP. In addition to helping me keep the show on air, you'll also receive access to exclusive content and other patron-only perks. Till next time.